Hello everyone, it's your favorite talking eggplant, and today we are playing part 10 of Blackberry Honey. Last time it actually happened. They finally kissed. Now we just gotta wait and see what happens next. I'm really excited. Anyway, let us continue. Have you seen Lady Constance's new governess? Oh, Miss Ingrid, right? That's right. I have no idea what to make of her. She's a little scary. I think so too. She scolded me the other day because I did not polish the fireplace in the drawing room sufficiently. How cruel. I know! Lottie threw her arms in the air. She looked peeved. I'll comfort you all you want. Thank you, Effie. You're so good to me. It is so frustrating, though. What does it even matter? Miss Ingrid was not using the fireplace. She just wanted to scold me, I think. She scolded me, too. She said it was impolite to look at my feet when I spoke to her. Well, that is what she deserves. I have never seen a more wicked woman. I'm sure she has some good in her deep down inside. It must be very, very deep down. Goodness, she is worse than the Witch of Belialp? Sunday morning found 4 of Bly's maids, Lorena, Lottie, Effie, and Ada, making their way to St. Mary's. Pauline and Isabel must have left already. Oh. As the 4 maids walked together companionably, Lottie complained the whole while. Lorena didn't really mind Lottie's complaints. Her voice, light and lilting, inflected with a Swiss-German accent, was rather charming, even when she was in a state of distemper. But Lorena could hardly focus on Lottie. Her explanation about the Witch of Belialp was nothing more than a background hum. The sky above was a bright, peerless blue, studded here and there with fluffy white clouds. The wheat swayed in the breeze, seeming to sigh softly with each slight motion. The air was so soft and sweet. The fragrance of wild flowers and ground dirt mingled together in a rich, heady aroma, or heady. Not quite as rich, however, as the pervading scent of orange peel and bergamot that hung about taohuas. Taohuas. Lorena traced an image of the older maid within her mind's eye. Her black hair, her green eyes, her pale, pink lips. Just like the apple blossoms on the trees in the Hartwell's expansive orchard. A deep sigh drew itself from Lorena's breast. Oh? Lottie looked at Lorena curiously. Her blonde curls fluttered in the breeze, tumbling about her shoulders like a princess's. That was a big sigh, Lorena. I can't help it. You should try to help it. My Uncle Rudolph always says, when you sigh, you're letting happiness escape from your body. Lottie had rather too many uncles and aunts. Lorena could never keep track of them. Instead, the young maid sighed again and wiped her eyes with the back of her arm. Sorry, I'm sleepy. You have been looking rather, as you English say, peaky as of late. It appeared at Lorena anxiously, her eyes wide. I hope you're not feeling sick. Get well soon. Truth be told, Lorena was feeling sick, but it was no physical affliction. Rather, the young maid was suffering from a sickness of the heart. Lorena saw Taohua, her cheeks started to flush. The sensation of lips against her own lingered in her mind. And then she forgot everything. Even her own name. It was quite the predicament. If Lorena hadn't known better, she would have thought she was lovesick. But Lorena wasn't in love with Taohua. That was ridiculous. She couldn't be. Lorena was much too English to fall in love with another woman. Wasn't she? She didn't know. But Lorena tried to force a smile all the same. Don't worry about me, you three. I appreciate the thought, but I'll be fine. If you are quite sure. If you have any problems, you can talk to me at any time. I know I'm not very useful, but I'll try to help. Lorena's smile grew. This time, she did not need to force it. It was difficult to remain unhappy when she was with Ada. Thanks. That means a lot to me, really. But how would her mood fare when she crossed the threshold of St. Mary's? Lorena hardly dared to imagine. Let us draw near with a true heart in full assurance of faith. It was a miserable thing indeed, Lorena mused, to sit silently through a Sunday service while convinced she was going to go to hell. Lorena had never once considered kissing another woman before, even as an idle whim. So why had she done it? She did not know the answer to that herself, and it was beginning to upset her. Having our hearts sprinkled from an evil conscience and our bodies washed with pure water. Did she have an evil conscience? Lorena wasn't sure. It was true she had a bit of a temper on her, and sometimes she would curse under her breath or take the Lord's name in vain, but that was not so very wicked, was it? Even her mother, who was one of the most upstanding Christian women Lorena knew, had cause to curse on occasions. Generally, when a customer refused to pay her fair sum, or she poked herself in the finger with the tip of the sewing needle. But there was a difference between one or two vulgarities and a shared kiss between two women. On the lips, no less. Oh God. For if we sin willfully, after that we have received the knowledge of the truth, there remaineth no more sacrifice for sins. Lorena knew her conduct had been poor, but she had been unable to help herself. In that moment, despite knowing what was wrong and what was right, she had wanted, more than anything, to kiss Taohua. She had wanted it so badly, it was like a physical ache. Merely remembering it was embarrassing. But the most embarrassing point of it all was, Lorena wasn't ashamed. As you should be. She felt guilty, yes, and something inside her chest told her she had done ill, but she did not regret it. If given another chance, she would have kissed Taohua again. She wanted to kiss her even now. But a certain fearful looking for of judgment and fiery indignation, which shall devour the adversaries, even if it would make the whole world revile and turn against her. Lorena didn't care. Over the course of the last month, Taohua had been her only ally at Bly. While Ada and Lottie were kind in their own way, they were incapable of standing up to Lady Constance or to Pauline and Isobel. Taohua was different. Lorena trusted the older woman. She knew, when Taohua claimed she would do something, she did it. And that made her a reliable ally. I wonder why she keeps having, or they feel like they keep have to reiterate, that Taohua's older. I wonder if we're ever gonna find out how much older she is, because According to, like, the sprite, she doesn't look that much older. I don't know. I find it interesting that they just keep, like, reiterating that the older woman. Why? Oh, was that why she had kissed her then? Was it ceremonial to cement their newfound understanding? But that didn't seem quite right either. And again, the Lord shall judge his people. So she would be judged. Did that matter overly much? Lorena couldn't help how she felt, though she didn't fully understand what her feelings were. And yet, though it was frowned upon, Lorena didn't see why it should be so very sinful, because it's not. During the last 3 years of being in service, Lorena had been unable to pursue what she wanted. She had been bound by the orders and instructions of others, to such an extent that when Arthur Pickering cornered her in the library and told her she had pretty eyes of all things, I don't know where I got big from. The young girl shook her head. She didn't want to think about that. She wouldn't think about that. She just wanted, for the first time in 3 years, to do something for her own sake. To do something that made her happy. Yes, it was true. Being with Taohua made her happy. And she finally admits it to herself. At least, this part. But we are not of them who draw back unto perdition, but of them that believe to the savings of the soul. Now, why should a merciful Lord begrudge her for that? Alright, thank you. It's no problem. I'll see you next week, miss. Have a nice day. You too. Lorena exited the post office. As usual, the bell above the door jingled. It had taken Lorena longer to post her letter than she had thought. The queue had been unusually large that day, held up by a woman insistent on shipping a parcel filled with dairy goods to Bath. The poor clerk behind the counter had argued with the woman until he was blue in the face, pointing out over and over again that such shipments were against standard protocol. I fully understand that. Lorena quite agreed. What was the point in trying to send perishables through the postal service? And to Bath, no less. Perhaps the woman was trying to kill the intended recipient. She had certainly managed to waste 20 minutes of Lorena's life. 20 minutes she wasn't gonna get back. During that time, Lorena had wondered whether she should send her letter at all. She hadn't gone into great detail about her relationship with Tilly, but that wasn't for a lack of trying. Lorena had attempted, most gallantly, to explain the situation, but she couldn't. It was far too confusing. Everything felt confusing as of late. Oh, why was she so stupid? And if Lorena's intelligence needed further questioning... Oof! Oh my. We really must stop meeting like this. She just had to walk into Taohua. Of course she did. That was how these things worked. It's called a meet cute, I think. Hi. Lorena took a few shocked, shuffling steps backwards and blinked at Taohua in surprise. Why are you here? It sounded more accusatory than Lorena intended. Why shouldn't I be here? Am I doing something wrong? No, but... The wind stirred and Taohua's dark hair fluttered gently in the breeze. Lorena stared. She could not help herself. I know I am undeniably attractive, my little Lori, but you do not need to look at me quite so intensely. I fear you will burn a hole through my head. That wasn't the intention. What are you doing here this week? And did it, Lorena wondered, have anything to do with the curious case she had been carrying the previous Sunday? I just wanted to make an inquiry. That's all. What about? Something precious. An heirloom. Heirloom? Yes. It's an item that was given to me a while ago by somebody very important. I thought the strings needed tuning, so I took it in for repairs last week. You might have seen me carrying it. Ah, that case. That case indeed. So, what was in it? Some kind of instrument? Indeed. I always knew you were a clever girl. You could have told me that when I asked. But what about the mystery? Not everything needs to be a mystery. Why don't we try a riddle then? What kind of instrument do you think it might be? Well, you said it had strings, so... a violin, maybe? Incredible. You're smarter than you look. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that. Lorena frowned. But violins are expensive, aren't they? Indeed they are. Mine was made in Cremona almost 80 years ago. Cremona? In Italy. The craftsmanship is first rate. So is the sound. It's very precious. Not just subjectively, but objectively too. That's incredible. Lorena didn't know much about music, but she knew enough to realize that a genuine Italian violin would cost a horrendous amount of money. Instruments were not toys any person could pick up and play with. Only the rich could afford such luxuries, for that was what music was. A luxury. Once more, Lorena was reminded of taohuas' offhand comment a handful of days ago. It's like the Mozart opera. The Marriage of Figaro, you know? The more Lorena learned about taohua, the more curious she became. Taohua's past sprawled out behind her like a labyrinth. Lorena was beginning to wonder whether she should keep a spool of thread to hand when they conversed so she could better navigate herself. Okay, now you're just making me confused. How were you able to afford something like that? I didn't. It was given to me. Whoever it was must have liked you a lot, to give you something so costly. I believe she liked me well enough, yes. Do you want me to show you? I can, if you're interested. Well, if you don't mind. If I minded, I wouldn't have offered, silly. It was a good point. This was a rare opportunity. Lorena didn't want to let it go. She didn't know when she would have another chance. She wanted to learn more about taohua. She was almost desperate. Maybe this violin was the key. Lorena found herself sitting in a parlor at a wooden table. Taohua sat to her left, one leg folded across the other, her dark hair falling across her shoulders. On the opposite side of the table were two young women who looked curiously familiar. It's the freaky lady. One of the women had dark hair, tied in two neat buns. The other, meanwhile, seemed to be around Ethel's age, so maybe girl would be more fitting. Her hair was blonde, her lips were soft pink, and her skin was fair. I met you after church that one time. Yes. It is a pleasure. The older woman beamed, clapping her hands together. I did wonder when I'd be able to sit down and have a proper conversation with you, Lorena. In my opinion, it would be better if we didn't bother. Oh, hush, Emil. Or, is that supposed to be Emily? I'm gonna say Emily. Very pretty parlor. Looks kind of low-key evil. Now utterly confused, Lorena glanced curious about her surroundings. The curtains and carpet were a rich wine-red hue, and the furniture seemed to be made of oak. It all looked very expensive. Lorena sniffled. The air smelt homey, of chamomile, tea, and old books. Hey, why are you sniffing around the air like a dog? Are you trying to insult us? Oh! Lorena started. The sullen blonde, Emily was it, was glaring at her. Her glare was so intense, one could have been forgiven for assuming Lorena had barged into her room, uninvited, and vomited on her shoes. I'm sorry. You should be. What are you, a dog? My little Lori is many things, but she is not a dog. So she isn't your cute puppy, Taohua? No, not yet, at any rate. Oh my. But she seems so well trained already. The way she followed you in here, all lost and confused, was particularly adorable. I enjoyed it when she almost tripped over her own feet. Ah, yes, that was very cute too. Delightfully charming. Excuse me? Can you stop talking about me like I'm not here? Oh, I apologize. Duly noted. You don't sound very apologetic. You know me too well. Lorena sighed. Now, why had she wanted to get closer to Taohua again? Because you like her. The whole thing was more trouble than it was worth. So, what are your names? Oh yes, I should have introduced myself sooner. My name is Theodora, and this is my younger sister, Emily. A pleasure. Right. Lorena had never met anybody who made that phrase sound less pleasurable before in her life. Theodora and Emily, was it? She would try to remember that. And how do you know who I am? Don't look so suspicious, dear. There's nothing underhanded afoot, I promise. I'll decide that for myself when you tell me the truth. The truth? The older woman pondered, her head tilted to one side. You see, Taohua is a dear friend of my family. I've known her for quite some time, since she was even younger than my adorable sister, in fact. She's told Emily and myself all about you already, on numerous occasions. Though we've not been formally introduced before, I knew you on sight. Taohua is quite taken with you after all. It's taken? Lorena blinked, her cheeks flushed. What on earth did that mean? Taohua has always been overprotective. She was worried some of the maids were mistreating you, so she asked us to keep an eye out. I didn't want to help. I thought it sounded like a pain, but I've known Taohua for a long while, so I thought might as well. It is the honorable thing to do. My, Emily. You've become such a gentleman. Shut up. But your tongue remains as crude as ever. I'm always saying she could stand to work on her manners. How's the work on my violin progressing? Do you have any news? It's been a week, Taohua. You didn't think the repairs would be finished in a scant 7 days, did you? God created the world in 6. Marvelous though I may be, I am not God. Not even I would go that far. How humble. I'm incredibly humble. I understand these things can take a while, and yet... You would rather I cut corners, increasing the speed of production but reducing the quality? No, I suppose not. But... Taohua made a show of pouting and traced the top of the table with her fingertip. That violin is my baby. I've had it for more than a decade. I'm protective of it. I've never seen her make that face before. Does that mean you don't trust me? Of course I trust you. But all mothers get a bit broody when they can't see their babies. The bond between a musician and an instrument is a wonderful thing. I'm so lucky my line of work allows me to see such passion on a daily basis. Sister, you exaggerate. You don't have that many customers. It's hardly my fault the residents of this village are Philistines who don't appreciate a good concerto. You'd make so much more money if you moved to London. I don't know why you insist on being so stubborn. Because this is our father's business, and our grandfather's before him. You wouldn't be so callous as to abandon our family ties, would you? What of our roots? I don't care for roots. I would rather go to London. When I think of all the pretty dresses I could buy there and the parties I could attend. You're too spoiled, Emmy. There's no such thing. I think there is. I've bought you too many gifts. I lavish you with love and affection, and for what? For you to tell me that you'd rather move to London of all places. But it's boring here. And what do you suppose our dear mother and father would do when they returned from Zanzibar, only to discover we have sold the house and moved to the city? You're being awfully optimistic, assuming their return is still a given. It's been more than 5 years. Oh, my little Emmy, so cynical. Get off me. Stop prodding my cheeks. But I want to. I'm your sister. Aren't I allowed? No, not in front of the guests. Please don't worry your pretty little head about me, Emily. I have no qualms about watching cute girls squirm. Excuse me? Why, you... Emily battered her sister's fingers away and shot Taohua a glare strong enough to wither roses. You really are awful, Taohua. My sister's always a nuisance, but she gets even worse when she sees you. We just have similar tastes, that's all. It is a pleasure to converse with like-minded individuals. Yes, indeed. I have yet to find another person who shares my pure, honest, heartfelt feelings for cute girls. The lesbians. I was talking about the music, actually, but I suppose that also works. Oh, Theodora, whom Lorena was beginning to suspect was something of a fool, laughed sheepishly. I knew that. Of course you did, dear sister. Of course. A soft breeze caught in the curtains, so they fluttered. Lorena could see the individual particles of dust dancing in the air, flickering like fairies. What would it be like to own a house like this all to herself? Lorena didn't know. She couldn't imagine it. She'd been much too poor for the majority of her life to even contemplate such a thing. Alright, I'm gonna leave that episode right there. Very interested to see this side of Taohua. I had no idea that she was friends with the freaky lady and that girl. But yeah, I will see you in the next video. Bye!